bring you a really interesting person of interest. I'm using that word twice now. But Manoj Pahwa, you remember him from the guy who did Office to now who's doing really intense negative characters. So we sat down to understand what makes him this one actor who stayed relevant from black and white AIR Doordarshan days to now till OTT. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. Let's get started.
First up, India unveils laser weapons as an entire system. We're talking about the DRDO. It's a laser that will be taking down drones in just seconds. So obviously there's no noise involved. We're not talking about missiles. It's just a beam of light. LT is being tested in Karnataka by DRDO, a future weapon that leaves no trace. We talk more about it right here.
And like we said, 150 films in, but what gets the funny, fierce and the heartbreak in every scene of Manoj Pahwa? We talked to the man who's gone in from the black and white TV to OTT, how he stays timeless, relevant and only evolving.
And after that, KL Rahul Michelle Stark's star DC beat RR in the 2025 Super Over thriller. We're heading closer and closer to the final. Who's going to be the two teams that are there? Michelle Stark has bowled a stunning final over and DC forced the first Super Over of the season against the Rajasthan Royals. With 9 needed off the final over with 6 wickets in hand, Rajasthan Royals seem to have the edge, only for Michelle Stark to turn the script entirely around. India is stepping into a new era of warfare, and this time it's not with missiles or bullets but with beams of light. The DRDO, the Defence Research and Development Organization, has just tested a laser-based directed energy weapon. It's capable of shooting down drones, missiles, other airborne threats using a silent, invisible, high-energy laser. Now, the weapon was developed by DRDO's CHESS lab, CHESS lab in Hyderabad, and it was tested at the Chitradurga test range in Karnataka. It's called the High Energy Laser Tactical System, HELT, and it worked by tracking aerial targets with electro-optical sensors melting through their structure mid-air with precision.
Sounds like straight out of a movie, right? And it probably is, but it's all happening in reality. Unlike the traditional air defense system that launch interceptors or missiles, this is a line-of-sight weapon. No trail, no smoke, no sound at all. Once locked, the laser beam now physically burns through the drones, the UAVs or even the aircraft-mounted sensors. It's mounted on a 4x4 armor Tata vehicle of just like that and has been tested at a power level of around 30 kilowatts. Now that's enough to neutralize small drones and missiles at close range, and it also operates continuously, not in pulses, making it ideal for sort of swarm drone warfare where speed, precision, repeat firing matter more than just the explosive payloads.
Right, but what's even more interesting is it's not just the tech, it's also the larger geopolitical or geostrategic signal that this sends. There are only a handful of countries, US, Russia, China, Israel, that have reached this stage of laser weapon deployment. India now joins that list, and with rising drone incursions taking place across our borders, asymmetric threats across the region, a system like this adds an entirely new layer to our defense strategy.
And what about the cost then? I guess that's what you're thinking. It's also a cost breakthrough as well, because laser weapons don't really rely on expensive missiles or kinetic rounds. Once the system is in place, which does cost a bit, each shot actually costs almost nothing, making it one of the most scalable, efficient counter-drone solutions that one can have in today's day and age. But there are challenges too. There are systems needed for massive energy input, making them heavily dependent on a stable power source.
Right, and their range is still limited compared to long-range missiles. And it's crucial to note, even the performance can dip. So the biggest issue with lasers is when you have poor weather, dusty conditions, atmosphere where there's heavy humidity, Atmospheric dispersion essentially increases then, and that can make the laser beam harder to point, harder to target. Still, this breakthrough is critical. This is a glimpse of the battlefield of tomorrow. So no explosions, no sounds, just sensors, AI, light. So how far are we from deployment? We're going to take a look at that and more. But before we introduce our guests, let's listen to some of the reactions that continue to pour in. You'll hear from DRDO Chairman Dr. Sameer V. Kamath, Dr. B.K. Das, who heads DRDO's Electronics and Communication System Cluster. And lastly, we also wanted you to hear from the Director of CHESS. It's the Hyderabad lab that actually built this system. Take a look.
This is a major breakthrough, whatever we achieved today, and we have seen that the fixed wing aircraft we have neutralized at a long range, some few kilometer range, and then we have also seen that we have a neutralized swarm drone, more than 7 drones also we have neutralized, and also we have shown that whatever the fixed targets are there, like antenna, the electro-optic sensors, with a laser weapon we can do a multiple target neutralizations. So this is one of the new and emerging weapon system where we have entered into this era of beam weapon. This is a massless weapon, and a concentrate of the laser light, it go and falls into the target and neutralize it.
We have to work on a few more technologies. One is scaling the power, one is the beam combination to achieve higher efficiency of their combination. But we are sure that in the next few years we will have this capability. We are also, as DGECS mentioned, looking at how we can miniaturize it to put it on airborne platforms, how to put it on ships. So this is a journey which has started today, which is a demonstration. What we gave you today is just the start of the journey. And with the synergy that this lab has achieved with other DRDO laboratories, industry and academia, I'm sure we'll reach our destination soon.
First time we are showing a technology in use and its devastation, what we could showcase you in all forms. That indefinitely shows that how far we are going forward in our technology maturity. Now as you increase the power, this is 30 kilowatt. So we have graduated from 2 kilowatt to 10 kilowatt to 30 kilowatt. So we know the system. Now if you bring up to this, now beyond is going to be only the numbers. So 30 can go to 50, to 100, to 300 and endless. I think technology, the country has matured, and what you saw is an absolute indigenous product of multiple DRDO labs working on synergy along with startup, academic institutions and industries together. Now together we could achieve this journey. We are confident that we are going to reach the higher power very soon.
All right, so lots of reasons to be proud actually on this one, not just how the technology has developed, but how indigenous it is and how proudly you saw those DRDO scientists there talking about how they've built it up. Let's welcome our guests now on the program. Ravi Kumar Gupta, former scientist and spokesperson with DRDO, also former director Public Interface for DRDO, joins us now. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for joining us early this morning. Mr. Gupta.
Very good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. Mr. Gupta, everything that we see as non-experts on this subject sounds like it's straight out of a Star Wars movie, right? A beam which will have no sound, no light, and will just pierce through and destroy the enemy. It could be a missile or a drone or anything like that. Is it as simple as that, or are we actually close to like real life lightsabers, as they say, in the sky?
First of all, very good morning to my viewers. And as you have very rightly pointed out, this is a game changer. And we have arrived. It is not just a kind of a technology in the books. The capabilities have been demonstrated. As a matter of fact, Mark 1 has been already inducted in the services, and it was displayed, it was deployed at Red Fort and during the Republic Day parade. So this is a reality. This is not just a kind of a textbook thing. It's a reality. And the kind of threats which are emerging nowadays, this is very, very important to have these kind of technologies and neutralize the threat as and when they arise.
Ravi, can you just explain to our audiences, take us back So walk us through the history lane, the last few decades. India started developing its own laser system towards the late 80s. I believe the US, Russia, these are some of the countries that had a head start. Can you explain some of the trickier parts, what it's taken to make a laser system that is this capable? What was the science that needed to be figured out? Just break that down for us first.
Oh, yes. Well, you see, the lasers as such, they were invented way back in early 60s. And at the time itself, the scientists began to think that apart from other applications, can we use them as a weapon? The thought process started, and superpowers began to do work in this area. And initially, they focused on to very high energy lasers, which were based on combustion processes when you are burning a fuel and producing energy. Because as you say, let me first tell you that the laser weapon, the first requirement is that you have to have a laser source of required energy level. So in the beginning, everybody was focusing on either combustion process or the chemical lasers.
Right.
Chemical lasers, as such, they require huge quantities of chemicals. When the two chemicals react, they produce laser energy. And I mean, this is not, while talking, it seems very simple. It's a very, very complex process of generating a laser beam out of the two reacting chemicals. And those chemicals, in the most of the cases, they were very, very toxic and hazardous. Like, for example, handling fluorine and nitrogen trichloride and hydrogen and deuterium and all that. So they were focusing on that. They achieved quite a bit of success as far as the laser source was concerned. But when it came to deploying that source, using that source for sending a beam to the target, there were lots and lots of challenges. And as you have rightly pointed out in your introduction, one of the major challenges was how to overcome the dispersions caused by the atmosphere. After all, this laser beam, energy beam, has to pass through the atmosphere before it reaches the target.
Right.
And those were great challenges. Ultimately, I mean, I can say as late as 2000, 2001, there were no major system evolved either with Russia or with America or any other country. In the meantime, when we also started working, initially we also focused on similar laser sources. Because by that time, the solid-state lasers, they were not that efficient. It was not possible to produce a continuous wave laser using the solid-state materials and achieve what the desired results. Those solid-state lasers were mainly in the domains of milliwatts. So we were also focusing at that time on the chemical or combustion-based laser systems.
Right.
But as the things evolved, the solid-state lasers during the late 90s and early, the previous decade, they made a lot of progress. And then arrived the fiber lasers, which changed the entire scenario.
Fiber lasers, you said.
Fiber lasers, yeah. We all know, they are fiber optics, they are used for communication, they are used for many other applications, but they can also be used for, generating the lasers. So gradually everybody started to shift towards fiber lasers, and we also did it almost at the same time. And very soon we achieved a limited success. And then it was a matter of scaling up and achieving the desired power level. So we reached the kilowatt levels some time back. But then a laser weapon system is not just about producing the laser.
Right.
That is the first step. Now there is how to, first of all, we have to, when we are talking of a destruction of a target, the first thing is you have to identify the target. Detection and identification and then classification of the target. I want to see whether this target is a real enemy, a threat to me or not. And then the next step is that you have to track it. Tracking means its position in real time in 4 dimensions. I mean 3 dimensions of the space and the time. So once we have achieved that, then we have to focus a laser beam onto that for a certain minimum period of time so that the target gets annihilated.
So, sir, let me just summarize. You said detection, tracking,
Yeah.
and destruction. These are the three goals. Okay, just stay
Yeah.
with us. Let's go over.
Yeah, we also have another guest joining us. Group Captain MJ Augustine Vinod is with us. He's retired Mirage 2000 pilot, air accident investigator, and also the co-founder for Amos Aerospace. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. You know, I'm just trying to make sense of how this tech has evolved. In traditional warfare, you would have, load, fire, relocate. Now you're suddenly moving into a situation where, because of health, you are silent, you're fast, you're repeatable. Is this now changing the game for how combat actually takes place, or would you say this is still a niche for specific purposes?
Thank you for having me over on the show again. See, two things we need to understand. For certain threats, this is the only solution. There is no other solution. I'll come to that in a while. Giving a little historical perspective to our viewers, we started working on two projects called Durga and Kali. Durga, I'm talking about, I think, mid-80s, early 90s onwards we worked, and we probably shelved it for a while, and that sort of gave us the fillip to this particular project. So we had a head start over many other countries from the original project of Durga and Kali. The original, the brainchild of Durga and Kali people have probably retired also. Durga means directly unrestricted ray gun array. That is the full form of Durga, which is basically a laser weapon, which was originally planned to be put on a Boeing class of aircraft, Boeing 747 class of aircraft. So from there, it was going to be, used against air-to-ground and air-to-air targets. And second was, of course, Kali, which was the full form of Kali was kiloampere linear injector. Basically, it is a electronic beam to fry the electronic boards of the incoming weapon. So with that as the background, we started this project, and we reached where we reached in absolutely quick time. And like you said, I mean, in our company, we are using laser for positive utilization. We cut metal with it. So that is the kind of energy that laser has. Now let's come to, where I said it is the only solution. Now look at, when you look at defense has 3 or 4 sub-elements. One is to detect, second is to identify, third is to destroy or divert. So when in the hot war condition, you will detect many targets. It could be one of your drones coming back, one of your aeroplanes coming back. So identify comes into play. Detect and identify, we are pretty much there. In our case, we have something called IFF, identify friend or foe. So when we come in after attacking the enemy, we switch on the IFF to say, I am a friend, please don't kill me. So now whoever is not identifying himself as the friend then becomes foe. Then we destroy or divert. So there is use case for Indian Army, Navy and Air Force, which I said in many cases, it is the only solution. Let's take 2 scenarios. One, a swarm of drones coming in, say 20, 50 of them coming in together. The White House Down, there is a movie. Yeah. I would request you all to, just watch how a swarm of drone can come and hit you. And it is, though fictional, today it is sort of reality because we have reached well ahead of what that movie has portrayed. Now, when you have 15, 20 targets, kamikaze drones coming towards you, you can have the best of the weapon. But to shift fire from one drone to the other drone to another drone, that is what the DRDO person was talking about. We shot down 7. But when you have 50, 100 coming in, a kinetic weapon like a phalanx gun, which is a high rate of fire gun, or anti-drone missiles, those things won't work. You will have to have short burst lasers going towards one target and switching from that to the next. And all this has to be AI enabled because it is humanly impossible to do so. prioritizing the targets and taking them out when they are coming in swarm. The second one is the most important. Today, we have a Brahmastra called hypersonic missiles. The anti-missile missiles maximum speed today is just 3.5 Mach, whereas an hypersonic missile, anything above 5 Mach is called hypersonic, 5 times the speed of sound. So any hypersonic weapon today has no counter measure except this particular thing. So it is, now you can have hypersonic or 10 times sonic or 20 times sonic, you can't beat light. So light is the fastest, and this is the only solution for anyone coming up with any kind of hypersonic missiles, including your MIRVs, that is your ballistic missile re-entering and splitting up into multiple targets, coming to multiple portions of your cities or towns or Mumbai or wherever, studio. So this is probably the only solution.
So, Group
but
Captain,
it has to scale up.
Can we just ask you one thing? Can you tell us the situation right now, both on India's border with Pakistan and on India's border with China? Explain to us the capabilities in this arena of both countries. I also want to ask you quickly, I've come to understand that drones they can be covered with materials that could make them laser resistant. Is that accurate? Tell us a little bit about that. Is that a possibility? Can cyber attacks happen that bring down our laser systems? How does India need to be capable against both of these countries?
See, two things in this particular system, which Ravi sir alluded to in an oblique manner. One is production of laser. We have reached well ahead of what is required. Like I said, we are cutting metals in our factory using laser. Second is, which is where the majority, I think, needs to come in a little more, as I am looking at the way the target has been brought down. The servo mechanism, which keeps the laser on the target, is a very, very niche thing that needs to be done, and we have reached somewhere there. Also, like I said, the swarm drones coming from China is a very high possibility because they are good at it. In Ukraine-Russia war, it's been amply demonstrated how drones can make tanks redundant. But there are also applications for civil aviation and airport security, shipping and maritime infrastructure, especially against pirates. So you can have this aboard a civilian ship, oil and gas facility, which is again all the time under threat. And of course, VIP protection of government installations where the smaller drones can create havoc. So all these areas need this particular weapon as of today. Because those are the areas which are really, really vulnerable against any kamikaze small drone attack, which is carrying maybe a kind of a grenade. And 4 or 5 of them coming together, you have absolutely no solution. So this is going to come in a very war footing. And like we said, private players have to be involved so that you churn out these products quickly for our domestic requirement, and also has a tremendous amount of export potential for simple reason. Very few countries make it, and we can make it probably cheaper than anybody.
Okay, got it. Group Captain Vinod, and perhaps, Ravi sir can also sort of take this question. We've spoken about the tech behind it a little bit, but I want to move to geopolitics now and understand that now that India has joined the club, right? There is US, Russia, China and Israel, other than India, who now have this tech. Does this laser breakthrough put us in a new strategic orbit now globally in understanding and how we approach?
Two things here. One is defense. Defense, like Swaraj, is everybody's birthright. So there is nobody who can question anyone when you're defending yourself. It is not a weapon which is for offensive purposes. So I am defending myself from antisocial element and my known enemies. That is point number one. Point number two, it is extremely cheap, therefore smaller countries can afford it. That is where the export potential lies. And that is where we are going to be talking to, some African countries and many countries who can't afford very expensive weapon. And this weapon is, the OPEX of this weapon is extremely, extremely low because, nothing you're physically firing. It is just light. So that is point number two. Point number three, and most important point, which that's in my opinion, is that you can integrate this with existing systems to sort of give 2x, 3x advantage to an existing defense system. So that itself puts us, like you said, in a different orbit altogether. I'm
Sure.
extremely excited. In fact, I wrote an article on it. I'm sure
Yeah,
the
we read that.
production.
It had lots of analogies and was really fun to read as well. But I know Mr. Ravi Kumar Gupta has also been patiently waiting for a while. If I can just quickly give him the last word to understand this, then if India is going to be exporting this, and if how Group Captain said that it could be exported, etc., then if everyone has it, then no one really has it, right? Is that the strategy? Is there a strategic look that India should have on this?
Definitely. See, this. I'm always emphasizing that export and import are a policy element. I mean, an important element of our foreign policy for any country, and that provides us a big leverage. See, apart from defending our own assets, as Group Captain Vinod has very elaborately described, and not just on ground, when you put these platforms in airborne systems, especially AWACS, and the high value airborne assets, and similarly on the ships, each aircraft carrier, you understand how much it costs, and this can add to multiply their defenses. So once the defense is there, it multiplies your strength. First of all, it is not an offensive system; it is a defensive system. But at the same time, an extra layer of defense adds to your strategic strength. So when you are exporting it to different countries, that adds to your diplomatic muscle.
Okay.
And that, I think, is a very important aspect, and we must explore all possibilities of exporting these kind of systems, and we will be, I'm sure, very soon we will be exporting this system.
Got it.
Ravi, I really wanted to ask you a little bit about if this is entirely made in India, what the science is there, but we've run out of time, so we won't be able to do that. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for breaking down how this laser works, its potential. Group Captain MJ Vinod, thank you for joining us. All right, that brings you a strategic overview around this incredible advancement, but let's move on.
So exciting, right? Let's take a very quick break. Coming up on the other side, we sit down with one person who's done over 150 movies, but when you sit with him, it feels like he's still auditioning for his first. Who are we talking about on the other side? The fun, the fears and the heartbreak all coming in a single frame with this gentleman. We'll bring you all the details in a moment from now. That's Manoj Pahwa.
Probable at this stage because Judge James Boasberg has ruled in Washington that he's giving the Department of Justice further opportunity to respond to his order. Meanwhile, the judge said he's considering his next steps that he may take and the punishment he may decide upon. He's asked the Trump administration to respond by next week. The deportations have been heavily controversial. The US government sent 3 plane loads of migrants to prison in El Salvador in mid-March, and this was despite Judge Boasberg's order against use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport these migrants. And these were said to have been Venezuelan gang members by the government. The judge in any case ordered 2 flights to return, but they carried on. The Supreme Court later ruled that the district judge lacked the jurisdiction to have ordered the deportations, and it said the deportations could continue. But Boasberg is proceeding over the contempt issue in any case. He added that he has given defendants ample opportunity to rectify or to explain their actions, but that none of the responses so far has been satisfactory. Following the Trump administration's confrontation with the whole world over tariffs, the row with Harvard University, this now marks a new battlefront opening up between the Trump administration and the courts, and also between the courts. White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt had dismissed Boasberg as a rogue judge. Secretary of State Marco Rubio spelled out in the White House that these are decisions for the administration to take, not for the courts. So this new order coming on Wednesday places the administration and the court itself in uncertain territory. A US district court has ruled that probable cause exists to hold Trump administration officials in criminal contempt for ignoring a court order against deportations. Probable at this stage because Judge James Boasberg has ruled in Washington that he's giving the Department of Justice further opportunity to respond to his order. Meanwhile, the judge said he's considering his next steps that he may take and the punishment he may decide upon. He's asked the Trump administration to respond by next week. The deportations have been heavily controversial. The US government sent 3 plane loads of migrants to prison in El Salvador in mid-March, and this was despite Judge Boasberg's order against use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport these migrants. And these were said to have been Venezuelan gang members.
Welcome back. You're watching The Breakfast Club. It's time to take you through all the highlights from last night's IPL match. 9 runs, 6 wickets, 1 over left. Rajasthan Royals shouldn't have sort of cruised home, but should have actually cruised home. But Michelle Stark had other plans. He fired in 5 near-perfect Yorkers and gave away just 8 runs in the final over, dragging the match into the super over. And from there, DC took full control, running out both Jaiswal and Parag in just 5 balls before chasing down 12 in 4 delivery. These matches are turning out to be quite a, sort of a cliffhanger for the past couple of days, yeah?
Yeah, a pulled 6 by Tristan Stubbs sealed the win. DC's 5th in 6 games, taking them to the top of the table. RR looked solid in the chase. Jaiswal fired early, Nitish Rana brought them close. But Stark's death over brilliance flipped the game on its head. Even more impressive given his rough start and being hit for 14 in his first over. And to make matters worse for RR, skipper Sanju Samson had to retire hurt midway. This was through a strong start. That shift in momentum proved decisive in a match that went down once again to the wire.
All right, and we are told that big blow over there as Samsung is not going to be playing, but more on that as we continue with our IPL coverage through the coming weeks. For the moment, let's toss over to all the stories coming in from India and across the globe. Union Road Transport and Highway Minister Nitin Gadkari on Wednesday termed the breakthrough in the Silkyara Bent Barkot Road Tunnel a historic milestone, saying this transformative tunnel will save 1 hour of travel time. The breakthrough in the Bent Barkot Road Tunnel, where 41 workers were trapped for over 2 weeks in 2023, was achieved on this week itself on Wednesday, with the excavation of both sides completed. A ceremony was held to mark the breakthrough. The day also saw the ceremony of Baba Vaikunth Temple at the mount of the tunnel.
And Delhi's Transport Minister Pankaj Kumar Singh on Wednesday dismissed reports stating that auto rickshaws in the national capital will be replaced with electric vehicles, calling them unfounded. While speaking to media, he said that the Delhi government is working towards offering better facilities. The statement from the minister was made at a time when a new EV policy is under the drafting stage as we speak. As reported by News18 last week, the ministry said that the new EV policy is currently under the drafting phase, adding that the existing EV policy will continue to remain in force until this is obviously finalized.
Tulip fields bursting with colour attracted springtime visitors to the Turners Hill, a village in West Sussex in the south of England, on April 16th. Now, Tully's, a local farm, said it had planted more than 1.5 million flowers in over 100 varieties as part of the Tulip Fest. People touring the fields could be seen snapping pictures, posting amongst rows of the neatly planted flowers.
And the latest incarnation of author F. Scott Fitzgerald's classic 925 novel, The Great Gatsby, has opened in London's West End, and it's giving audiences the chance to step into J. Gatsby's world of parties at his mansion on Long Island. While the novel is told through the eyes of Gatsby's new neighbour, Nick Carraway, who becomes intertwined in Gatsby's life, the musical version is able to live in the heads of all of the characters. Fresh from an ongoing run on Broadway, the new show stars Jamie Muscato as Gatsby, the self-made millionaire who, rather than partying, has tried to win back his old love, Daisy, who is married to someone else. This is a classic American tale and a tale for the ages.
Talking about tales, the cast of the new Prime Video series Toya hits the red carpet in New York. The cast member actually said it was a love letter to the art of dance. The show's co-creators, etc., who's also the former dancer, said that the fingers crossed and hoping audiences enjoy the show. And they went on to quote that we make shows that we think we would like to watch, and so far other people think they want to watch them too.
And after this, we shift focus and we take you to Ice Cube. He's the rapper who's just gotten both the hands and feet at the TCL's Chinese Theatre. He's gotten that special concrete treatment, but with both. Remember, this is something that is a rite of passage for people in Hollywood. He first found fame and rap with the group NWA in the 1980s before moving into movies. And he said having his hands and feet dipped in cement was a dream come true. He was joined by his oldest son, O'Shea Jackson Jr., who portrayed his father in the 2016 Oscar-nominated movie Straight Outta Compton. Ice Cube, whose birth name is O'Shea Jackson, has starred in movies including Boys in the Hood, Barber Shop, Friday, Three Kings, 21 Jump Street, and its sequel 22 Jump Street. He's also obviously released multiple albums and gotten a Grammy Lifetime Achievement in 2024.
Movie stars, singers and fashion models appeared at the Dior's Fall 2025 collection in Kyoto on Tuesday. The fashion show, held at the Toji Temple in Kyoto dating back to the Heian period, was attended by celebrities including Indian actress Sonal Kapoor, Japanese actress Anne Savai, and several other, American actress Monica Barrow as well. Dior's fall fashion collection of minimalist styles by creative director Maria Grazia featured loose trousers, white sleeved jackets, and long airy dresses with glittering flower patterns.
And let's take you now to London, where Blake Lively, Anna Kendrick, they attended the London premiere of the murder mystery sequel, Another Simple Flavor. The duo star in the sequel. It's the sequel to director Paul Feig's 2018 movie of a similar name, A Simple Favor, which followed two friends turned enemies at Kendrick's character Stephanie uncovered Emily, and Emily is played by Blake Lively, as the culprit behind a complicated murder plot. In this film, the pair are reunited after Emily is released from a prison and extends the olive branch to a former friend, suspiciously inviting her to a destination wedding in Italy's Capri, and Stephanie accepts.
Lionel Messi and his Inter Miami teammates granted the wishes of Make-A-Wish children at their home stadium in Fort Lauderdale. Now, 23 children with critical illnesses, along with their families, traveled from across the United States to fulfill their dreams of meeting the Inter Miami first team, which included stars Messi, Jordi Alba, and Sergio Busquets. Now, the event commemorated the World Wish Month, which builds upon the foundation of the 29th April's annually celebrated World Wish Day.
Next, we take you to our very special person of interest. You know him as the uncle who always has something to say, the boss who never gets it right, or the father who feels a little too real. But behind every unforgettable Pahwa moment is an actor who's been quietly stealing scenes for over 3 decades.
Today, Manoj Pahwa joins us not as a beam, not as a character, but as a man who made all of them matter so much. We sat down with him. This is a real fun one. Sit back and enjoy. So joining us now is Manoj Pahwa. He is not just a distinguished actor who's known for his extensive work television, film, theatre. But he's coming from a generation where television used to speak a very different language. It has evolved, it has changed, some for the good, some not so much. So we want to understand from him what's really going on. Also, my own understanding of Manoj Pahwa's journey has been that his own, choice of work is going through a bit of transformation, जिसके बारे में हम उनसे बात करना चाहते हैं. तो मनोज जी नमस्कार, थैंक यू सो मच हमसे बातचीत करने के लिए.
नमस्कार.
तो मनोज जी, जैसे मैंने आपसे कहा कि थिएटर, AIR, ऑफिस और हम लोग के समय के वो जो मोटे वाले टीवी होते थे,
जी
स्क्रीन सिनेमा और अब OTT और इवन फोन्स, एयरप्लेन से बैठ के लोग फोन पर टीवी देख रहे हैं. आप मेरे ख्याल से उन चंद आर्टिस्ट में से हैं जिन्होंने ये सारे ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन विटनेस करे हैं. तो सबसे पहले तो मैं जानना चाहती हूँ कि कैसे इतना ब्यूटीफुली नेविगेट कर लिया आपने फ्रॉम दैट टाइम टू नाउ.
इसके अंदर कोई मेरे कहना चाहिए कि इसके अंदर हमारा कोई बहुत बड़ा हाथ नहीं है. हमारा तो ये है कि हम जिस कहना चाहिए जिस टाइम पे पैदा हुए, उस टाइम पे पैदा होके ये जरूर हुआ कि हाँ हमने रामलीला कर ली अपने मोहल्ले में, तो हमें इस एक्टिंग का शौक पड़ गया. ठीक है, हमें थोड़ी पता था कि भाई इस टाइम दूरदर्शन ही है या यही है. अच्छा, फिर जब आगे एक्सपोजर हुआ और उसके बाद पता चला कि अच्छा ये काम को सीखते कैसे हैं, कैसे सीखा जाए इस काम को, अगर इस काम को आगे बढ़ाना है, प्रोफेशन बनाना है, तो पता चला भाई थिएटर होता है. और दिल्ली में पैदा हुए थे, तो उसका नाम आ गया NSD का कि अच्छा भाई नेशनल स्कूल ऑफ ड्रामा है, एक मंडी हाउस है जहाँ पे ऐसे ड्रामा और नाटक के बारे में पढ़ाया जाता है. वहाँ पे नाटक होते हैं और जो हमारे सीनियर्स हैं उस टाइम पे कि भाई नसीरुद्दीन शाह और जो ओमपुरी और पंकज कपूर साहब, वो सब लोग जो है नेशनल स्कूल ऑफ ड्रामा से निकले. अच्छा भाई, तो फिर हम मंडी हाउस चले गए तो वहां पे नाटक करने लग गए. तब तक यही था कि नाटक करना है और पैसे कमाने के लिए तो फिर फिल्म्स होंगी या दूरदर्शन पे एक आधा कोई नाटक होता था, ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पे कोई एक आधा प्ले होता था, और वहां से एक नाटक के कुछ मुझे याद है चेक मिला था, 30 रुपए का मिला था. युवा मंच होता था, 30 रुपए का चेक मिलता था, तो वो कर लिया. फिर सडनली टेलीविजन आ गया. हम लोग जब वो आ गया तो उन्होंने कहा कि भाई हम लोग जो है ऐसा ऐसे एक सीरीज बनाएंगे जो कि हफ्ते में 2 बार 3 बार आएगा, और उसका जो है 500 रुपया पर एपिसोड का मिलेगा. तो मैंने बोला कि इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि हफ्ते में अगर 5-6 दिन शूटिंग, 5-6 एपिसोड किए तो 6-5 30, 3,000 रुपया एक हफ्ता बोल रहा है ये. तो मेरा पहला रिएक्शन ये था कि इट्स अ बिग स्कैम है, क्योंकि हम लोगों को तो 100 रुपए मिल गए, 50 रुपए मिल गए शो के, या कहीं नाटक के 30 रुपए मिल गए, युवा मंच पे 30 रुपए मिले. तो मैंने कहा ये तो बहुत बड़ा स्कैम है, ये हमको फंसा के ले जाएंगे कहीं पे और कुछ करेंगे.
मनोज जी, आपकी जो बॉडी ऑफ वर्क है उसको मैं अगर देखूं तो आई हैव बीन वॉचिंग यू फ्रॉम ऑफिस डेज, फ्रॉम हम लोग डेज. वो मोटे
झूठ बोल रही है तूने, ये इंटरव्यू के लिए प्रिपरेशन किया, कोई नहीं देखा.
जी नहीं,
आप पैदा भी नहीं हुई थी, 84 में पैदा हुई थी क्या?
मैं 90s में चल रहा था आपका. आप 90s में आपका शो चल रहा था, आप भूल रहे हैं.
हो गया कि रीरन हो रहा था.
जी, वहां पर ये रीरन्स होते थे और हम सब बैठ के देखते थे. एंड दैट टाइम हम उस समय की बात करें जब रिमोट हमें नहीं मिलता था, वो घर के बड़ों के पास रहता था. वो जो देख रहे थे हमें वही देखना होता था, राइट? सो आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट टाइम. सो ये चैट GPT ने मुझे नहीं बताया, ये मेरे जहन में है, जस्ट टू क्लैरिफाई. ओके, बट आई ऑलवेज थॉट दैट यू वर अ कॉमिक हीरो. You were somebody who wanted to and liked to do comedy, or even if it was another role, it had a sort of lighter tone to it. Of late, I'm noticing आप जितने projects पकड़ रहे हैं, they are slightly more serious. They have shades of grey. It could be the negotiator of what you did in IC 814. It could be, a more intense role that we are, looking at the new project Chamak that you're doing as well. So, ये क्या, is that by design that you're choosing to do more projects which are slightly more, not the stereotypical Manoj Pahwa role?
नहीं, अगेन वही बात है कि मेरे हाथ में कुछ नहीं है, मैं तो आ गया, मैं बहने लग गया। अब मेरा जो फिजिकल अपीयरेंस और जो भी कंडीशन है उसके हिसाब से मुझे कॉमिक, हैप्पी गो लकी, गुड फादर, गुड फ्रेंड, हैप्पी गो लकी फादर, गुड फ्रेंड, ऐसे रोल मिलते रहे, मैं करता रहा। और पता नहीं क्या हुआ, सडनली लोगों को मेरे अंदर सीरियसनेस दिखाई देने लग गई। और कुछ एक दो लोग हैं जैसे अनुभव सिन्हा है जो मुझे जानते हैं, उनको हमेशा मेरे अंदर ये कॉमिक एलिमेंट दिखाई नहीं दिया, क्योंकि उन्होंने जब पहला अपना सीरियल बनाया था शिकस्त, वो नहीं देखा होगा तूने, उसमें भी मुझे नेगेटिव रोल दिया था। फिर उन्होंने बनाया था सी हॉक्स, उसमें भी मुझे मेन विलेन दिया था। तो उनसे पूछा भी, कई लोग पूछते हैं उनसे कि भाई ये तो एक कॉमेडियन है, तो उन्होंने कहा मुझे नहीं दिखाई इनमें कॉमेडी, मुझे एक बड़ी इंटेंस पर्सनालिटी दिखाई देती है। उन्होंने फिर आगे चल के मुल्क बनाई फिल्म, तो उसके बाद आर्टिकल 15 बनाई उन्होंने फिल्म, उसके बाद उन्होंने अनेक बनाई, सब में बहुत इंटेंस और नेगेटिव रोल दिए मुझे। तो फिर जब उन्होंने दिए तो बाकी लोगों को भी सडनली लगने लग गया कि नहीं नहीं ये तो एक्टर ठीक ठाक है, कॉमेडी नहीं सब वो भी कर लेता है। तो अब मेरे पास सब, तो मैं 25 साल कॉमिक रोल्स करता रहा, लेकिन मुझे अवार्ड जब मिला तो मुझे बेस्ट एक्टर इन नेगेटिव रोल मिला आर्टिकल 15 में। तो मैंने कहा ठीक है भाई, ये भी कुछ डिजाइन होगा। लेकिन फिर मैं वही कहूंगा कि इसमें मेरा कोई योगदान नहीं है, और लोगों का अपने आप परसेप्शन बदल गया। अब मुझे वो सीरियस रोल देते हैं, मुझे बोलते हैं कि सर जब आप स्क्रीन पे मुल्क में रोए तो बहुत लाखों लोग आपके साथ रोए, आपको देखते हैं इमोशनल होते हुए तो लोगों को बहुत कनेक्ट होता है। मैंने कहा भाई ठीक है, पहले बोलते थे कि आपके साथ हंसते हैं तो बहुत हंसते हैं, अब कहते हैं कि आपके साथ हंसेंगे भी, आपके साथ इमोशनल भी करेंगे। अब ऐसा बोलते हैं कि भाई आप अगर नेगेटिव रोल करेंगे तो उसका जो चार्म होगा अलग ही होगा कि लोगों को एक्सपेक्ट नहीं होगा सर, और फिर आप लास्ट में आप निकलेंगे नेगेटिव कैरेक्टर। तो मैंने कहा ठीक है भाई, पहले भी ठीक था, अब भी ठीक हूँ, मेरे को तो काम करना है। और फिर वही बात कि मेरा कोई योगदान नहीं है इसके अंदर, ना मेरा कोई डिजाइन है, ना मैंने बैठ के सोचा कि यार कैसे होगा। मैं तो
पर आजकल के एक्टर्स बहुत सोचते हैं,
नहीं वो
आजकल के एक्टर्स बहुत दिमाग लगाते हैं कि किस
उनको शायद उनके पास शायद होगा कुछ स्ट्रेटेजी, लेकिन मेरे को कभी ऐसा लगा नहीं कि मेरे सोचने से कुछ हो जाएगा। मुझे लगा मेरे काम करने से ही होगा। अपनी अपनी वो होती है ना। मुझे हमेशा ये लगता रहा, जो मेरे सीनियर थे दिल्ली में वो कहते थे कि एक्टिंग इज डूइंग, एक्टिंग इज डूइंग मतलब करना पड़ेगा। या मेरे फादर थे, जब हम लोग गैराज में काम करते थे तो वो जो पेचकस प्लास और ये सब हम लोग काम करते थे, तो कहते थे करत की विद्या है बेटा, जितना करोगे उतना ही ज्यादा मैच्योर होगे। तुम करो, बैठ के डिस्कशन मत करो कि ओके ये ऐसे हुआ तो फिर कैसे हुआ, करने से ही होगा। यू डू इट डू इट डू इट डू इट, आप अपने आप पॉलिश हो जाओगे, अपने आप ही जो होना हो जाओ। तो मैं वो करता रहता था, करता हूँ, अब आज भी करता रहता हूँ। तो लोग बदलते रहते हैं, लोगों के परसेप्शन बदलते रहते हैं, लोग कभी सीरियस समझ लेते हैं, कभी कॉमेडियन समझ लेते हैं। लेकिन हाँ ये जरूर है कि आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल टू that's almighty whatever the universe thing. कि मुझे कभी काम के बारे में ये नहीं सोचना पड़ा कि काम कैसे आएगा. राइट फ्रॉम द डे वन. बहुत सारे लोग पूछते हैं, या शायद अभी भी आप इंटरव्यू में पूछने वाले थे शुरू के, जो एक बड़ा टिपिकल क्वेश्चन होता है, स्ट्रगल कैसा रहा. मेरे को कोई स्ट्रगल वगैरह नहीं रहा. मैं आ गया और मेरे को काम मिलना शुरू किया, मैंने काम करना शुरू कर दिया. मैं एक दिन भी कोई स्टेशन पे नहीं सोया, ना कोई फाके काटे, ना कोई भुखमरी हुई. मैं डेली अपना मटन चिकन राइट फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट डे, और काम करते करते. हाँ, मैंने कोई स्ट्रगल वगैरह उस तरह का नहीं देखा. हाँ, तो झूठ क्यों बोलना भाई साहब.
You know you're talking to a Punjabi when food analogies come in.
अरे बाप रे, तो क्या नाम क्या है तेरा?
Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor.
बाप रे, कपूर. हाँ, मतलब टिपिकल फूडी पंजाबी, तो मतलब हो.
बस
वही है, तो वही है अपना पंजाबियों वाला.
हाँ.
काम करते रहो, मस्त रहो, खा पी के सेट रहो. वही अपना एटीट्यूड रहा. उसी से जो है बम्बई में 30 साल कैसे निकल गए पता नहीं चला.
ठीक है. तो मनोज जी, हमारा जो शो है वो सुबह के समय आता है. हम हमारा
सुबह इतनी बात कोई सुनेगा, मतलब ये
सुनेगा.
हाँ, सुबह ऐसी बात
नहीं सुनेगा. और मैं और मोटिव ये है शो का कि लोग कुछ अच्छी बातें यहाँ से लेकर जाएं, कुछ अच्छे से शुरू करें, कुछ एक स्माइल के साथ हम उनका दिन हेल्प करें उनको शुरुआत करने में. तो मैं जानना चाहती हूँ कि मनोज जी के इतने लंबे, इतने इलस्ट्रियस करियर में कौन से ऐसे 2-3 रोल्स हैं जो आपके बहुत करीब हैं. इफ यू कैन टेक अस डाउन दैट मेमोरी लेन एंड टेल यू व्हाट ब्रिंग्स अ स्माइल टू योर फेस.
मेरे को मुझे अपना वो कैरेक्टर भाटिया का जो ऑफिस में हमने 6-7 साल किया, वो बहुत अच्छा लगता है. लोग आज भी याद करते हैं. फिर वो मेरे लिए जो एक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन जो लाया मेरे करियर के अंदर एक रोल, वो था मुल्क में, जो बिलाल का कैरेक्टर था, ऋषि कपूर साहब के छोटे भाई का. आपने देखी नहीं है वो फिल्म, आपकी शक्ल से पता चल रहा है. तो कभी मौका लगे तो वो फिल्म देखना, मुल्क की. तो वो बहुत प्रिय है, क्योंकि वो एक ऐसा रोल था, बहुत ही इमोशनल और बहुत ही प्यारे से एक आदमी का रोल था, जिसको पॉलिटिकल उसमें फंसा के मार दिया जाता है. और वहां से ही कुछ अचानक सब लोगों का मेरे बारे में एक परसेप्शन चेंज हुआ कि नहीं यार, ये तो ठीक ठाक एक्टर है, तो इमोशनल रोल भी कर लेता है, ये सिर्फ कॉमेडी नहीं. तो मुझे ये उसका वो रोल बहुत पसंद. निकाल के देखना, तुम्हें अच्छी लगेगी मुझे.
बिल्कुल. नेक्स्ट ऑन द लिस्ट. जाते जाते मनोज जी, आखिरी सवाल. इस समय अगर कोई बडिंग एस्पायरिंग एक्टर आपको देख रहा है, आपकी कॉन्वर्सेशन सुन रहा है, आपको लगता है लोग नहीं सुनेंगे, मुझे 100% विश्वास है कि लोग ये कॉन्वर्सेशन जरूर सुनेंगे, उनको आप क्या कहेंगे कि टाइमलेस कैसे रहा जाए मनोज पावा की जैसे?
बस देयर इज नो सब्स्टिट्यूट फॉर हार्ड वर्क. आपको काम करते रहना पड़ेगा, और देयर इज नो शॉर्टकट. जो भी आप काम करना चाहते हैं लाइफ के अंदर, एक कारपेंटर भी बनना चाहते हैं या एक डॉक्टर बनना चाहते हैं, सिमिलरली अगर आप एक्टर बनना या फिल्म मेकर बनना चाहते हैं, आपको अपना मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. वो उसका कोई और कोई उसका सब्स्टिट्यूट. और ये भी मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि अगर आप अच्छे दिल से किसी काम को करना चाहते हैं, तो फिर कोई ऐसी ताकत भी नहीं है जो आपको रोक सके. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई आदमी, हर आदमी कोई काम नहीं जी, एक्टर होते हैं बड़े बॉर्न टैलेंटेड होते हैं, कुछ होते हैं टैलेंटेड होते हैं, कुछ कम होते हैं. लेकिन अगर आप चाहें, बिकॉज आप अगर अपनी मेहनत करें, आप सब कुछ कर सकते हैं. लेकिन सच्चे मन से मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. अपने आप अपने लिए ट्रुथफुल रहना पड़ेगा, और कोई फॉर्मूला नहीं.
मनोज जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच हमसे समय निकालने के लिए, बातचीत
थैंक यू.
थैंक यू. So this was actually just a glimpse. You can watch the entire conversation that we had with the Manoj Pahwa on TBC Extra on YouTube.
Well, what a wonderful conversation.
Lots to decode from that, yeah.
Let's move on.
All right, next we bring you a special segment on the financial markets powered by Money Control Pro, Money Control's premium destination for investing and business insights. Let's start with how the markets are pegged to open this Thursday morning. Indian equities may be set for a weak start as indicated by GIFT Nifty. Now, Asian stocks opened a tad higher from the previous closing. However, cues from the US are not optimistic as Fed Chair Powell indicated growth slowdown. Crude oil prices are up due to US-Iran conflict and talks of production cuts in OPEC.
All right, and let's carry on. Let's take a look at one sector in particular, and we're going to be taking a look at loans for housing fast growing. So for affordable housing in particular, it's a fast growing segment in the housing finance industry. Demand remains very strong, creating enough business to accommodate multiple players. Rural recovery is adding to the optimism. Asset quality has been largely stable, unlike the crisis seen in the unsecured lending market. Now, you can log into Money Control Pro to find out more about the housing finance sector, various other actionable insights on the market. It's the premier destination for all investing views and financial insights that you're ever going to need, brought to you by Money Control. Okay, heading into a quick break, but we're not done yet. On the other side, our video of the day. Do stay with us.
Probable at this stage because Judge James Boasberg has ruled in Washington that he's giving the Department of Justice further opportunity to respond to his order. Meanwhile, the judge said he's considering his next steps that he may take and the punishment he may decide upon. He's asked the Trump administration to respond by next week. The deportations have been heavily controversial. The US government sent 3 plane loads of migrants to prison in El Salvador in mid-March, and this was despite Judge Boasberg's order against use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport these migrants. And these were said to have been Venezuelan gang members by the government. The judge in any case ordered 2 flights to return, but they carried on. The Supreme Court later ruled that the district judge lacked the jurisdiction to have ordered the deportations, and it said the deportations could continue. But Boasberg is proceeding over the contempt issue in any case.
All right, it's time to take you through our video of the day, and this one takes you down the memory lane. Should we just play it out for you to guess what it is? Here's a glimpse of everybody's favorite guitarist and clearly the flavor of the season. Sit back and enjoy. We'll see you again.
This is sitarist Rishabh Ricky Ram,
Yes.
and he's from the famous Ricky Ram family. They make instruments, they're well known for it, and this is him really doing a beautiful number on the sitar. Take a look.
The caption is given away, but you can still enjoy.
probable at this stage because Judge James Boasberg has ruled in Washington that he's giving the Department of Justice further opportunity to respond to his order. Meanwhile, the judge said he's considering his next steps that he may take and the punishment he may decide upon. He's asked the Trump administration to respond by next week. The deportations have been heavily controversial. The US government sent 3 plane loads of migrants to a prison in El Salvador in mid-March, and this was despite Judge Boasberg's order against use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport these migrants. And these were said to have been Venezuelan gang members by the government. The judge in any case ordered 2 flights to return, but they carried on. The Supreme Court later ruled that the district judge lacked the jurisdiction to have ordered the deportations, and it said the deportations could continue. But Boasberg is proceeding over the contempt issue in any case. He added that he has given defendants ample opportunity to rectify or to explain their actions, but that none of the responses so far has been satisfactory. Following the Trump administration's confrontation with the whole world over tariffs, the row with Harvard University, this now marks a new battlefront opening up between the Trump administration and the courts, and also between the courts. White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt had dismissed Boasberg as a rogue judge. Secretary of State Marco Rubio spelled out in the White House that these are decisions for the administration to take, not for the courts. So this new order coming on Wednesday places the administration and the court itself in
Hello and good morning. Thank you for tuning in to CNN News 18. I'm Shen Elizabeth Matthew. Let's begin this bulletin with the top news this hour, which is concerning the Supreme Court, which will continue to hear its hearing for the second day on the petitions challenging the validity of the new Waqf Amendment Act. Now, the Chief Justice of India, while hearing the pleas on Wednesday, noted that while some sections of the Act are in fact commendable, others requires clarification. Now, petitioners argue that law infringes on Muslim communities' right to profess religion, while the centre defends it as progressive and inclusive, citing recognition for the marginalized group like the Aga Khanis and the Bohras.
को इसमें यकीन है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट से हमें इसमें इंसाफ मिलेगा और राहत मिलेगी। मैं वहाँ चेयरमैन रहा हूँ, हमने अभी ऐसा कभी नहीं, देखिए कोई भी आदमी खड़े होकर के मीडिया के अंदर कह दे, देखिए वक्त की यहाँ पर दिल्ली के अंदर 1977 प्रॉपर्टीज़ हैं और सबका गजट नोटिफिकेशन है, वो सब जो है गजट में है और एरिया भी गजट के अंदर है। तो यही एक साजिश है इनकी कि स्टेट का ही आदमी इनका जो है सीओ, वो सीओ रहे, स्टेट का ही चेयरमैन रहे और डीएम को सबसे ऊपर जब के रखा गया है। अब डीएम को चेयरमैन से और बोर्ड से ऊपर अगर आप बना रहे हो तो इसका क्या मतलब है, हमारी समझ में नहीं आता।
ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट में आज तकरीबन 3 घंटे की हियरिंग के बाद में ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट साफ वाजे किया है कि हम ये ऑर्डर पास करेंगे या हम ऑर्डर पास करना चाह रहे हैं, ये जिसपे स्टेट काउंसिल ने यानी गवर्नमेंट काउंसिल ने कहा जी कल तक के लिए मुलतवी कर दीजिए। तो वो जो वहां पर बताया गया था, वो ये बताया गया था ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट की तरफ से कि हम वक्फ बाय यूजर को रिटेन करेंगे इंटरिम, जब तक इसकी पूरी सुनवाई ना हो जाए, यानी इंटरिम ऑर्डर इस तरह का करने जा रहे हैं। दूसरी चीज क्या थी इसमें कि जो नॉन मुस्लिम को आपने इंक्लूड किया उसको भी हम स्टे करेंगे। अभी ये इंटरिम ऑर्डर के ऊपर बात चल रही है, फुल्ली इनको एग्जामिन किया जाएगा सारी चीजों को। अब ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट इसको खुद एग्जामिन करेगी या किसी दूसरे हाई कोर्ट को रेलीगेट करेगी, ये ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने डिसाइड करके बताना है।
देखिए सीधे तौर के ऊपर कई सारे आर्टिकल्स का वायलेशन है जो एक्ट बनाया है। इस तरह के एक्ट में इतने सारे अगर आप संविधान की धाराओं का उल्लंघन देखते हैं, जाहिर सी बात है सुप्रीम कोर्ट ही एक आखिरी उपाय बचता है, एक आखिरी रेमेडी बचता है। भेदभाव से भरा कानून, सीधे तौर के ऊपर विवादास्पद कानून, जिसमें आप जो वक्फ का जो मूल ढांचा है उसको हिला के रख दिया है सरकार ने। ऐसे में संविधान के जिन धाराओं का वायलेशन है उनके बेस के ऊपर हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट के दरवाजे पे गए हैं। पूरी उम्मीद है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट न्याय देगा।
क्या लॉ है, लॉ विल टेक इट्स ओन कोर्स, लेट अस सी, वी विल फाइट।